Morning, Braden. Morning, Dev. How are you both?
Morning,
Good
mate.
morning.
We thought it was probably time to check in again, given everything that's happening, particularly in Victoria, with the updated state of emergency, and we're now sort of 6 or 7 months into COVID. BJ, I wanted to throw to you first, and wanted to get a good understanding of what you've learned in the last 6 months about business personally, but also for our clients.
Yeah, I think the first thing, um, it's a learning and maybe something you forget at times is how quickly 6 months can go in business. It doesn't seem that long ago that we were, hearing about COVID-19 and potential lockdowns and all this sort of stuff, and here we are now in October, and trying to live in COVID normal. And from a business point of view, it's been a bit of a wild ride. I know, there's been a lot of conversations with people in industry, with clients, internally about, how do we get through this? How do we get businesses through this? And I think the biggest learning is, businesses and in particular business owners are bloody robust, and can move on their feet really quickly. I'm happy to say that we haven't had any clients that have gone under because of COVID. We do have quite a few that are in that dormant kind of phase, just waiting to reopen, but they're in a position to be able to do that because of good planning and
Braden,
management.
what about rising tide? What's it taught the last few months taught you about our business?
Yeah, well, I mean, you always think you're working pretty hard, but then when something happens, you got to find another gear, and I feel like we did that. We're certainly, COVID basically put our business on hold for 3 to 4 months while we were trying to deal with it all, and then trying to catch up with tax lodgements and everything else. So, yeah, it kind of showed that we were ready for a new resource, and hence, while we've brought someone like Dev on as the senior accountant, it's a great opportunity for us and just to make the team take it to another level.
Brilliant and great segue. Dev, welcome to Rising Tide. You've now been here for close to a couple of months. Give us 30 seconds about who you are and a little bit about your experience.
Yeah, so thank you, BJ. Originally from Mauritius, and I've been in Australia for about 14 years now. I've done my uni here and worked in practice for more than 8-9 years now. Riding with Rising Tide now, so it's a really good experience.
Welcome, mate. You've hit the ground running. Now, gents, there's two things that I really want to focus on today. And firstly, that is the stimulus that is still available or has become available recently. And secondly, bringing it back to what business looks like towards the back end of 2020 and also into 2021. So, Dev, I'll throw to you first with regards to the most recent changes to Jobkeeper.
Yeah, there have been few changes to Jobkeeper. So they call it Jobkeeper 2.0 or extension. So first thing first, all entities currently on Jobkeeper, they must again satisfy a new decline in turnover test. They don't need to re-enroll, but yeah, they just need to satisfy the decline in turnover. It's just basically calculated based on September 20 turnover over September 19 quarter turnover. So monthly calculations no longer applies. And if you didn't qualify for Jobkeeper 1, you can still enroll for the next Jobkeeper, so Jobkeeper 2.0, provided you satisfy the decline in turnover test. Few things, alternative test still applies. And basically the new Jobkeeper payments have been decreased to 2 tiers now. So rather than just the 1,500 payment over fortnight, so it's been decreased to 1,200, and second tier is $750. That's basically just whoever has worked over 80 hours gets the first tier, and lesser than the 80 hours per month goes to the second tier. And the last thing I would like to point out is a person who has been employed after the 30th of June 2020 is not entitled to Jobkeeper. So yeah, it's on a business to business basis. So I would definitely encourage all clients to come and contact us so that we can look at their eligibility.
Yeah, right. So I suppose to keep it really succinct, because you've been a part of JobKeeper Part 1 doesn't necessarily mean you're definitely part of JobKeeper Part 2, and vice versa. And it also seems a little bit more dynamic in a business to business case, depending on the hours you work, when you're employed. So the key thing being is that we'll make sure that people can connect with you easily, Dev, after this. And if they've got any questions, they can get in touch with you. Now, over to you, BJ. On top of JobKeeper, there's some additional stimulus, particularly for Victorian businesses. Are you able to give us a really quick overview of that?
Sure. We're now into part 3 of the Victorian government stimulus packages. What we saw really early was one of the requirements was to be, under JobKeeper Part 1. But a lot of these stimulus packages were aimed at businesses that had employees. And so it did exclude a whole lot of people that probably do deserve it. They've now, as part of Part 3, there is now a sole trader package that you can access there, and that's a $3,000 payment. So if you're enrolled for JobKeeper and you fit within one of the industry codes, which is pretty wide, it will fit most industries, there is a $3,000 grant available for you. For those that do have employees, there's grants of I think $5,000, $10,000 and $20,000 that you can apply for, depending on size of turnover, size of employees. Same rule, you need to be enrolled in JobKeeper, but once again, those with employees tend to get a bigger piece of the pie.
Yeah, great. So it's very similar concept. Nothing continues on. You've got to reapply. You've got to qualify. But the most important thing is to get in touch and have a chat with you, BJ. A couple other questions that as a business owner myself, I'd like to know, what do you think that business owners should be doing as we head towards COVID normal, particularly in Victoria?
Yeah, look, I think if we go all the way back, one of the big things I was harping on about was planning. And right now you need to have a really, really clear and structured plan for, coming back out of COVID, but also what does year 1 look like, year 2? You need to look at this almost like you're restarting your business. And it is a really good opportunity to do some of this stuff that as business owners, we tend to put to the side because we've got bills to pay, work to do. Right now is a great opportunity. If you do have a bit of spare time, it's, what's our team look like? Are we even in the right industry? We've had quite a few clients that have pivoted, might be in a similar industry, but doing something completely different. And that might be the way forward, or it might be, do we revert to what we were doing pre-COVID? Has COVID shown us that we are in a risky industry? So there's a lot of this strategic stuff that needs to be happening right now. And then forward planning, it's like, well, let's make sure that we're in a really good position to, capture all the stimulus available, give ourselves the best cash flow opportunity moving forward, and then roll into 2021, maybe bigger and better than what we were pre-COVID.
Yeah, great. So is there any specific things that you believe may catch some business owners out if they aren't proactive?
Yeah, look, I think the big one right now will be the ATO. A lot of businesses, the ATO have been very generous, particularly for Victorian businesses, around putting payment obligations on hold, lodgement extensions, so forth. They're starting to come to an end now. So you don't want to get a knock on the door from the ATO starting to demand payment or asking for payment. Much better off jumping on the front foot, chatting to the ATO about your options. They're still being very flexible on payment terms, interest-free debt, this kind of, things that in the past we probably haven't been able to access as easily. Right now is the time to strike. And if you know that you've got some ATO debt coming due, get on the front foot with the ATO, renegotiate, and they're being very flexible. That's probably number one at the moment. That's the biggest pressing issue that I see.
Yeah, great. So what I'm taking away from this conversation today, guys, is that the time to be reactive is gone. We need to be looking forward, not just at what we're doing in our business, but also our operations. And it sounds like one of the really key things, if there's any uncertainty, is to get in touch with either or both of you, which we'll connect clients with after this. But from a business point of view, I also just wanted to give you guys and the whole accounting team a bit of a pat on the back. It's amazing how much stuff has been going on behind the scenes, but I also wanted to say a quick thanks to a lot of the clients who have shown great empathy for the work that may have taken a little bit longer than it previously would have. We've had to pivot. Having the whole team working from home is something we've never experienced before. And once again, proactivity and strategy is the key, I think, for the back end of 2020 and the start of 2021. Anything further before we wrap it up, guys?
No, we'll just put the links to the diary to be able to lock in a time to chat, which will come out with this video. As always, there's plenty of info on the website, and we'll be available here to have a conversation. I think one thing, Dev, I'm not sure if you mentioned it, but if you were enrolled in Jobkeeper Part 1, you will automatically be enrolled in Jobkeeper Part 2. You don't have to do anything. Anyone that wasn't previously in Jobkeeper Part 1 will need to enroll, so there's a fair bit of work involved with that. And from there, we just need to do some work around the employees and things like that. So really important that we have a chat and work out a process. We've got a month to get it sorted. We've got plenty of time, but want to make sure that we get access to what we're entitled to. Great.
So let's wind it up. Don't make any assumptions. What has happened over the last 6 months doesn't dictate what will happen moving forward. Be proactive, work out what you're eligible for and what you need to do within your business. And most importantly, take action, get in touch, and hopefully, get to the back end of 2020 with masks on and businesses still in play.
Yeah.
Thanks for your time, guys. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Not a problem. Have a good one.
Thank you.
See ya.